Hi friends, this is lesson number 3, Weather Hazards, on page 110 in your Elevate Science textbook. Lesson 3, page 110. The title of on page 110 is in green. It says Weather Hazards. The header is called STEM Connection in orange. Flash! Boom! A severe thunderstorm has hit your area. Communication systems might stop working. Roads and buildings might be damaged or destroyed. Hazardous weather conditions that cause major damage are sometimes called disasters. When a disaster occurs, the government steps in to help. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, services people affected by disasters. FEMA might put up shelters, bring in food and water, help people find family members, provide access to medical help, or even more. It is important to have a lot of help in a disaster. The effects of a disaster are bigger than a person alone can fix. Subheader is identity. Identify. Who are some people in your community that might help during a major weather disaster? Remember, we have to use the words in the question in our answer. So we're going to use the words some people that might help during a major weather disaster. The answer is some people that might help during a major weather disaster are police, firefighters, doctors, nurses, and electrical workers. Top of page 111. The title is called STEM U Investigate Lab. The header is called How Can You Stop a Flood? Engineers test the properties of different materials to decide which are best for certain jobs. How can you find out which materials would be best for flood control? Plan your procedure. Which materials can you use to control flooding? Brainstorm ways to test 3 of the suggested materials to see which one is the best solution. If you were involved in the Children's Museum on our snow day, that was when we did that experiment. It says write your plan. You can skip that part. Use your plan to test the materials. Go ahead and test your materials. Elevate your solution. Elevate. Compare results with your classmates. Which materials were the most effective at stopping water? What properties did the effective materials share? The answer: the tile and plastic sheet worked best. The materials did not have any holes in them. Number 5, how could you improve the most effective materials? I could use the most effective materials together to stop more water. Turn the page. Page 112. The heading is Storms. Look at clouds and you might notice they do not stay in one place very long. The atmosphere is consistently in motion. Energy from the sun and differences in air pressure cause air to move. With a lot of energy in the atmosphere and big differences in air pressure, winds can blow very fast. Sometimes a storm can occur. A storm is a disturbance in the atmosphere with a lot of wind. Storms usually carry a large amount of precipitation as well. Heavy rains can cause floods. This means that water in certain places is too high and may cause damage. Major storms can have a big impact or effect on an area. people design different solutions to reduce impacts. Here in South Dakota, we have lots of storms, lots of wind, even blizzards. One of the strongest and largest types of storms is a hurricane. Hurricanes form over warm ocean water and have very strong winds. It is important to be prepared if a hurricane comes close to your home. Reading check. Main idea and details. Underline 2 details that tell why a storm can have a big impact. We have to go back to lots of wind. Heavy rains can cause floods. This means that water can certainly be too high. Quest connection. What are some ways that a roof can keep you safe in a storm? It can protect against rain, wind, and falling objects. Top of page 113. Header, reduce the impact. A hurricane is coming. Hurricanes can be very dangerous. The winds can move houses, cars, boats, trees, and other objects, including people. How can you be prepared for a hurricane? In the diagram, there are captions that tell about each section of the picture. A lightning rod attracts lightning to keep buildings safe. Boards protect the windows from objects blown by the storm. Flood walls made of sandbags or other materials can keep water away from homes. Sea walls can prevent floods from ocean waters. Planet. You are building a house in an area that has hurricanes. Plan your house. List some criteria for the house. The house must be able to withstand strong winds. The windows should not shatter easy. Top of page 114. Header. Thunderstorms and tornadoes. This is up our neck of the woods. Thunderstorms are extreme storms that happen in many parts of the world. These storms have thunder and lightning. Have you ever gotten a shock when you touch metal after walking over a carpet? If so, you have experienced the same process that causes lightning. But lightning is much stronger. Lightning happens when the electricity moves from a cloud. As the electricity moves toward the ground, it causes light and heat. The heat from the lightning causes air particles to move apart very fast. That is when you hear the boom of thunder. Thunderstorms often come with heavy rains. They can also cause large pieces of ice called hailstorms to fall as precipitation. The bottom picture shows hail. Another hazardous storm that can happen when a thunderstorm is a tornado. A large mass of swirling wind such as the one in the photo to the left. Tornadoes form over land when large amounts of warm and cold air mix. Tornadoes can have the fastest winds on Earth. They swirl in a funnel that reaches from the clouds to the ground. Top of page 115, header, drought. The storm in the photo is not carrying rain. It is blowing a huge cloud of dust. Sandstorms and dust storms occur in very dry environments. Violent winds lift large amounts of sand or dust into the atmosphere. The storm can happen if a drought or A long period with little or no rain occurs. A huge dust storm occurred in the United States on April 14, 1935. The storm turned daylight into a sky dark as night. In some places, the darkness was so black that people could not see their own hands. The storm traveled hundreds of miles. That day in history is known as Black Sunday. Write about it. How can you stay safe in a storm? And we can skip this part. Okay, go down to lesson 3, check. Number 1, describe. What are 2 ways to stay safe during hazardous weather? Again, we need to use the words in the question in our answer. 2 ways to stay safe during hazardous weather are to stay indoors and go to a safe place such as a basement. Number 2, identify. How can people reduce the impact of a flood? Use the words in the question in your answer. People can reduce the impact of a flood by building barriers to keep the water away from homes. Nice job, friends. Kiss your brain. Keep up the good work. Thank you for listening.